REM sleep deprivation. What really happens to someone who lives on just 4 or 5 hours of sleep night after night? Now that is a question that I am here to answer. As I'm getting into exactly what REM sleep deprivation is, I would really like to make sure that you guys understand what the different sleep cycles are. And in this diagram, starting with non-REM sleep stage 1, like mentioned, this is the lightest sleep, the shortest duration, and the muscles relax and the eye movement slow, and it's easy to wake, and you're likely unaware of sleep. This sleep really only lasts around 1 to 7 minutes, and the only thing that's happening is you're transitioning from being awake to asleep. It's super short, and this is a little bit relatable, but you may also experience something called a hypnic jerk, which is that sensation of you're falling and then you randomly twitch awake. That happens during this sleep cycle. It's very easy to be awakened during the sleep cycle as well, and it really is only 5% of the amount of sleep you get in the night. So from here, you transition to non-REM sleep 2. Now, moving into non-REM sleep stage 2. This is about 50% of total sleep. Your body cools and your heart rate slows down, and sleep spindles and K complexes appear. Now you're probably wondering, what are sleep spindles and what are K complexes? So starting with sleep spindles, these are short bursts of activity involved in memory consolidation, and K complexes help the sleeper not awaken during this cycle. And this cycle is still a lighter sleep. It's still transitioning into that deep sleep, which we'll get into. It's non-REM 3. And really, all that's happening is your body is just slowly getting slowed down. It's taken a little bit, and this stage normally lasts 10 to 25 minutes, but it's still the transition into that deep sleep, which is where our bodies spend a lot of time in our sleep cycle. Now, moving into non-REM sleep stage 3. This is the deepest sleep, and this is where slow waves occur and physical recovery and growth hormones release. It's very difficult to wake up, and you feel groggy if you are woken up. So in this area of sleep, this is the most important for our body repairing itself, like I mentioned, especially if you're sick. This sleep cycle helps a lot with immunity and just repairing muscles and building bones and all of that good stuff. This sleep cycle helps a lot with immunity and just repairing muscles and building bones and all of that good stuff. And this is where, like it mentioned, the brain produces slow, high amplitude delta waves. And part of the issue with getting woken up in the middle of the nights. And part of the issue with getting woken up in the middle of the night is you're groggy, right? So if your sleep schedule is all messed up and you're being awoken in non-REM sleep stage 3, that is why you're so groggy in the morning, is because your body is deprived of REM sleep, which is what I'm getting into here. Now, getting into my favorite sleep stage, which is number 4, REM sleep. This is my favorite because when my body is in its normal circadian rhythm and I am going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every morning, waking up during REM sleep is very nice. And that is because REM sleep is rapid eye movement, and it's a stage of sleep where our brain goes through increased activity. This is a stage where humans have vivid dreams and even where your muscles are temporarily paralyzed so you don't act out the dream. This sleep stage is more commonly found in the second half of your sleep cycle, which allows our bodies to wake up with ease since our brain is already very active rather than in a deep sleep, like I mentioned earlier. REM sleep deprivation occurs when you're not getting enough sleep at night, and this can be due to several different factors. Factors like illness or doom scrolling and staying up late, which is a common one, disrupted sleep schedules, or even like first-year community college students staying up late to study for a test or finishing up some last-minute assignments. And REM sleep deprivation is when you're not getting enough of that REM sleep, and that's normally because your sleep cycle is messed up and your body is focused on staying in non-REM 3 and getting that deep sleep rather than prioritizing REM sleep, because your body assumes that you still have that time to get the REM sleep, and then you're forced to be woke up while in non-REM 3 or even in non-REM 2 if you're really getting not that much sleep at night. But normally you're being woken up in non-REM 3, which is a deep sleep, and that's why you're waking up groggy. So REM sleep is extremely important, and I'll get more into depth on that. In the next slide, for example, I'm going to be talking about my mom. She is the example that's getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep each night, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what this looks like in her life and how this affects her on a daily basis. And while I'm going through this example, you can ask yourself questions like, how am I experiencing the same symptoms? What am I doing that's causing me to not get as much sleep at night? And how could I change this? Now, in my mom's case, shown in the visuals, she's going to bed at around 1 in the morning every single night and still waking up at around 5 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. every single day, which is causing her some conflict at work and sometimes making her wake up late due to lack of so much sleep, and especially REM sleep. Your body is really craving it and needing it. And when someone sleeps that little, they aren't getting enough REM sleep, like I mentioned, and it's the stage that just helps regulate emotions, process memories, and support mental health. So REM sleep mostly happening later in the sleep cycle, it's more likely to get cut off and shortened. And over time, this REM sleep deprivation can affect your mental health in several ways and has affected hers in very, very many ways. It can increase irritability, stress, and emotional sensitivity. And if you're raising a child, this can cause a lot of conflict in your home. And people may have a harder time managing their emotions and can feel more anxious or overwhelmed, and it can affect mood regulation and increase the risk of depression. And for someone like my mom who's balancing all of this could also lead to fatigue and depression and stronger emotional reactions on the daily basis. So really getting adequate sleep is very, very important in maintaining a regular cycle. And when someone like my mom who's experiencing chronic REM deprivation, which involves a sustained loss or reduction of this stage that continues for weeks or months, this pattern is often linked to underlying sleep disorders, and the effects are far more damaging over time as this disruption becomes a consistent feature of the sleep cycle. Since my mom is experiencing chronic REM deprivation, this is more likely to have many more negative effects throughout our daily life and can honestly lead to emotional instability. And short-term REM deprivation is still not a good thing, but it's a little less alarming. It's a temporary reduction of rapid eye movement sleep that only lasts a few nights, and the effects are often immediate but reversible once sleep pattern returns to normal. Like I said, getting back into your circadian rhythm is the biggest way to create regular REM sleep on a daily basis yet again. Before I got into the example of my mom's sleep schedule and how that's affecting her mentally and physically, I left you guys with some questions to ask yourself and to think about before I got into it. And I would just like to cover how this could be relatable to your own lives and what common habits are keeping most students and Americans up late at night. And Some of these examples include studying due to procrastination or excessive workload. I think a lot of community college students are taking tough classes, especially at the first year. You're trying to get those prerequisites knocked out to continue into your degree. So, due to that, having that excessive workload can be tough, especially when you're adding on credits. And not everyone is young that's going to community college, so balancing work life or maybe being a parent coming back to college can also be extremely difficult and can allow you to go to bed late at night because you have so many different tasks and things you have to cover throughout the day. And this can include working those late shifts or working those morning shifts and you having to disrupt your sleep schedule to wake up early to go to work. And another area that is commonly forgotten about is illness or conditions. I think some examples of this are sleep apnea, which is when you're not able to completely breathe on your own at night and you will just stop breathing. And a lot of elderly people experience this, but it's not uncommon to experience it as an adult, as young adult as well. And a very common one in most adults is sleep insomnia. And this is when you're waking up continuously throughout the night and you're not able to completely fall asleep or stay asleep. And I think a lot of other illnesses can keep you awake at night, especially if you're one to get migraines even and you're just genuinely not able to sleep at night. I think situations like that a lot of people forget about, and it's not always fair to you, but there are some things that you can change in your sleep schedule to fix habits. Not all of them are fixable, but you definitely can do so, and I would like to give you some of those. Within all my research on REM sleep deprivation, I found some very interesting information in my peer-reviewed article that I would like to share that I think is super important and has a little more scientific research rather than uh, just getting the basic understanding on REM sleep deprivation. So, in this article, researchers such as Sergio studied how the brain reacts when a person does not sleep for a long time. They measured brain activity using EEGs, which records electrical activity in the brain. And after about 40 hours without sleep, they noticed that during REM sleep, the brain produced more slow brain waves, especially in the frontal and middle areas of the brain. And these slow waves are usually a sign that the brain is very tired and needs recovery. This finding is really important because the scientists used to think that the brain's mainly recovered from sleep loss during slow wave sleep, which is the deepest stage of sleep. However, this study actually shows that during REM sleep, the brain recovers after being awake for a long time even more than when you're in a deep sleep. And, really just breaking this down, REM sleep just plays a way bigger role in helping the brain restore itself after sleep deprivation than researchers actually believed originally, which is super cool. I think that REM sleep and dreaming definitely is important. And in some of my research, I learned that non-REM 3 is mainly incorporated in children when they're growing. And it would make sense to me that REM sleep is more prioritized with age and people in general, but when going through research, I learned a lot about non-REM 3 in children and how that deep sleep is more important for them in developing their skills and cognitive thinking. And to close out on REM sleep deprivation, I would like everyone to try at least one of these two little activities on themselves to kind of test out REM sleep deprivation or to figure out if you feel like you need more REM sleep. The first one being a sleep simulation. So this would include purposely tracking your sleep schedule throughout a couple of days. No napping throughout these days because you really want to get the full benefit of sleep each night and not counteracting it with naps. And you could journal your responses after experiencing these different nights of sleep. Maybe one night go to sleep really early and then wake up really early, and then another night go to sleep super late and wake up super late, or maybe for a couple of nights wake up at the same time but go to sleep early one night and go to sleep later one night. And obviously I don't want you to deprive yourselves of sleep, but just try a couple different things, and then you can ask yourself some questions like, did I experience any dreams? Do I remember them vividly? Or how do I feel immediately after waking up? And how do I feel throughout the day? And after logging all of this information, you can kind of decipher what sleep schedule you feel like you need to be on, or whether or not you need more REM sleep. Everyone's different. And then another more hands-on activity you could participate in is a memorization activity. And you could write down, so get a piece of paper and write down about 20 words on your piece of paper and spend a minute doing that. And then leave your paper there for about a minute, come back, and then get another blank piece of paper and write down as many words as possible that you remember. And see if you remember as many as you think you do. Obviously, everyone has a different memory, but like I mentioned, REM sleep can really affect your cognitive thinking and memorization skills. So maybe if you don't remember a whole lot, you need to work on developing a better sleep schedule and getting more REM sleep. But my overall takeaway from this lesson is that REM sleep is extremely important, and being on a consistent sleep schedule is also important. The more sleep you get at night, the more likely you are to have a better well-being, you're more likely to have a better social life, and you're just going to overall feel better and have a better memory, have better cognitive thinking skills, and just be a happier person in general. So really focus on prioritizing sleep in 2026, even when life gets hard and being a student is hard and struggling the daily duties of living. Just really focus on getting a good night's rest and see what happens. So thank you so much for coming along, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.